Hey everyone, and welcome to another Friday Maths Tip. Today we're covering strategies on how to prevent careless mistakes in maths exams. Right, this happens to everyone, so make sure to stick to the end to see specific strategies on how you can prevent these careless mistakes, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, now in order to really help you understand how to prevent careless mistakes, we need to first dissect it and talk about what type of mistakes there are. So first, no idea. So no idea means those are just really hard questions that you have no idea how to do, or you just take a question, you got no idea how to do. I'm not covering those that type today, but just want you to be aware. And then the next type, time problems, right? You just ran out of time, okay? Now, one of the strategies I do have will help with that, but for now, let's go to the last type, careless mistakes. And that's what we're talking about today. All right, so now that we know the different types of mistakes, we're going to focus today specifically on careless mistakes. All right, so now let's look at the causes of careless mistakes. So careless mistake is something like this. All right, so yeah, this is a video I did the other day. Can you notice what I did wrong here? Yeah, if you see, there should be a +3, not a -3. Okay, so everyone is prone to mistakes. Doesn't matter if you're God, like me, or doesn't matter, right? Everyone. Okay, so what's the first cause of careless mistakes? Rushing, right? This is a common problem, right? You just rush through the exam and you're obviously going to make a mistake because you just go too fast and you just write down something wrong, right? But that's not a problem. Rushing is not the problem, it's just writing down the wrong mistake, but we're going to talk about later how to fix rushing. Okay, now the next one, 2, didn't read the question properly. Now raise your hand if you're at fault of this one. Right, this is a bad one. I hate that mistake. That's a terrible mistake. I see very common with a lot of students. You just didn't read the question properly. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to fix that one. That one's probably the easiest fix. Right, number 3, brain snap. All right, so you just, for some reason, decide to write a minus instead of a plus. All right, we get it. All right, I don't have to keep reminding myself, but I failed the other day. Okay, and then just one more main type of careless mistake, exam pressure, and more specifically, succumbing to exam pressure. Right, because this is probably the leading cause of making careless mistakes. Because when you're under exam pressure, you will rush, okay? And when you rush, you don't read the question properly. And when you don't read the question properly, well, you have a brain snap, okay? So now, let's go through strategies on how to prevent these mistakes. All right, so this is what you've been waiting for. This is why you're watching this video. You want to know these strategies. How do we prevent these careless mistakes? Well, first we have to understand the cause before we can talk about fixing them. So the first one we're going to consider is exam pressure. This is the big one, right? If you don't fix exam pressure, it doesn't matter about the other 3. It's a psychological warfare. You're screwed. If you're struggling in an exam due to exam pressure, you're nervous, whatever, doesn't matter about, you can't fix the other problems. You've got to fix this first. So how do we fix exam pressure? Well, the first thing we do is prepare properly for the exam well in advance. Right? It's all about preparation. You need to walk into the exam feeling prepared. If you don't, then you're screwed. So I did make a video last Friday on how to study for maths exams properly, right? Where it takes 4 to 6 weeks depending on how big the exam is. So make sure to watch that. I'll leave a link up here. So watch it after this video. So the next thing, practice past papers in exam mode. So in the video I talked about last week on how to study for maths, the last phase of studying for exams is this. If you want to get better at exams, you need to practice them in exam mode at home, right? If you're struggling from exam pressure, that's because you might not be good at doing exams. So why don't you practice doing exams at home and you'll eventually get better. So practice this as often as you can, right? And one more thing, you need to have a strategy to complete maths exams properly. Right, which is part 2 to this video. I'll be covering that next week, right? Because that itself deserves a whole video. Right? I don't want to take an hour to spend to talk about that as well. So this is the key. This one here actually will help with brain snaps and rushing. Right? If you have a strategy on how to complete maths exams properly, it's going to help rectify exam pressure, brain snaps, and rushing. Right? Because you have to wait till next week to see the strategy I talk about that will help eliminate these or reduce it. Okay? So then let's look at reading the question properly. So let's clean the whiteboard. So when it comes to reading the question, how do we make sure we read it properly? Well, just underline the key words. Right? Just go through the question, underline those key words. That way you know what you have to do in that question. Right? So instead of just reading that question really fast, just go there, get your pen, underline those keywords, and you know what to do. So as I said earlier, that's the easiest problem to fix. Just underline those keywords and you should be able to read a question properly and know what you have to answer. The next problem is, do you know how to answer it? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about careless mistakes here. So if you underline those keywords, you won't make a careless mistake of reading the question not properly. Right, so I just want to make another note on another strategy we can use for fixing rushing, and that is write bigger. Right, so this is my favorite thing. This is what I do because I love to rush, and we need to rush because time management is a big problem. And if you're not rushing or going too slow, you're not going to finish. So I recommend going as fast as you can, but a trick I like to do is I like to write bigger. Because if I write bigger, when we talk about the strategies I have for completing a math exam, it makes it a lot easier. So I'll show you an example, right? So let's clean the whiteboard. All right, let's look at this. I did the same example twice. I made the same mistake, but the difference is of how I read it. I wrote this one really big. I wrote this one, what most people like to do, small. Okay, look at this. So the mistake you can see is here. This +1, when I move it over, it should be a -1, so that should be a 2. Same thing I did here. So when I go back through my exam, I've written this nice and big. I'll be able to see from here to here, what have I done? I can see that, hang on, that should be a 2. And then here, I might see the same thing, but because it's so small, I might not see, or it's hard actually to read over my mistake when I write too small. So exams are not times to be a tree hugger, right? Use as much paper as you need. Use 50 pages. I actually did use 50 pages in an exam back at uni. Got 100% in that because I'm not a tree hugger in exams, right? Don't worry about wasting paper. Just make sure you do the best you can, and that means write as big as you want. And so I hope you enjoyed this part 1 on how to prevent careless mistakes in maths exams. So make sure to tune in next week to get part 2. So that means make sure to subscribe and turn those bell notifications on so you're notified when that video is released. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow for homework help. Whoa, you made it to the end. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something awesome today. I post 6 videos a week, Monday to Saturday. So make sure to subscribe here, turn those bell notifications on, and watch other awesome videos on my channel right here, okay, right here. Oh yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Spread the maths love. Can we go to the gym now?